I usually know I'm stressed when I feel really agitated and I can't think clearly and things don't make much sense and it's just like a cloud of worry all around me.
When I start to feel stress, I feel tension in my body and I'll start to feel anxious, which for me is a manifestation of stress.
Delayed sleep on frequent waking, frequent bowel movements, loose, sweatiness, eye twitch, muscle twitch.
I know I'm stressed when I begin to procrastinate and I tend to get really distracted. So I like to just write down how I'm feeling and then I try and identify a specific stressor so that when I see it on paper I can kind of work around it.
To cope with that stress, I try to make checklists so that I can check off things that I've done to feel more productive and get things off my mind. And also it helps me prioritize things so that I'm not spreading myself as thin.
I'll go back to the 3 basics. I'll ask myself, am I eating well, am I sleeping well, and am I exercising enough? If those 3 boxes are checked and I still continue to feel stress, I will reach out to friends, I'll journal, I'll take a really uber long and hot shower, and I'll take up a hobby. For me, that's listening to music, making my own music, and listening to one of my favorite podcasts.
One thing that I like to do is some deep breathing, play the guitar, sit on the porch.
When I'm feeling stressed, the thing I usually go to first is listening to soothing music, removing myself from the stressful situation so that I can be in a quiet area. Also making a list of things I need to do and breaking it up into smaller chunks always helps. And then lastly, doing exercise I find always relieves stress, especially if it's outside.
We are certainly living in unprecedented times, and starting university during a pandemic is a very new experience for students as well as faculty and staff. When we think about the shifts that we've had to make over the last few months, it's been challenging at times for many. Starting university is going to be a new experience. We're going to want to think about a routine and what our routine is going to look like. Just because we're experiencing a pandemic and things might look a little different than we had anticipated doesn't mean that we can't still develop some sort of routine or schedule. That's something that I think is going to be very important for students to consider of what that's going to look like. Even though you're not physically on campus, I think it's going to be important to make a schedule or times when you're going to be watching lectures, for example, or setting aside time to do homework. With libraries being closed, we're going to want to consider how do we best study. So thinking about things like Google Meet or Zoom calls with other peers and students may be a way that we can kind of get that library feel during pandemic times. We're going to want to get creative with the way that we study, with the way that we work, and with the way that we schedule our time. So think about some of those things going forward and how you can sort of mimic what a university schedule is going to look like without actually being physically on campus.
Staying connected to friends and loved ones definitely helps, especially when it's over video chat. Thinking about the things I'm grateful for and writing them down, keeping a schedule and trying to wake up at a reasonable hour every day and not sleep the day away. Also doing things that give me a sense of normality, like working out, making plans, and reading.
I like to use mindfulness to cope with the changes that have come with the pandemic, in the sense that I do not judge my feelings surrounding everything going on. I let myself have those feelings and I simply notice them. I feel like empathy is the best medicine in this situation, because just knowing that your friends, family, and even strangers from around the world are having a hard time coping can feel very, very comforting and validating.
One thing that I've been really recommending to students is to think of activities that they can do in 4 different quadrants. 1 being an accomplishment activity, 2 being a mental health activity, 3 being a physical activity of some sort, and 4 being a pleasure or joyful activity that they can do. So you want to try and hit something from an activity from each of those 4 quadrants to provide us with some structure to our day and to sort of give us back some of that schedule that we really need and really crave.
Pastime at home, I like to read books, watch movies, hang out with my sister, and FaceTime friends, or do things that I enjoy, because despite contrary beliefs, it is good to do things that you like. You don't always have to be productive, it's self-care to do things that help your mental health.
I haven't had any difficulty because I'm still working full time. I have 5 kids, 4 of whom are at home off and on. So passing time at home is not a difficulty. We played a lot of ping pong. We enjoy watching the show The Flash. And a lot of times I'm just puttering in the yard and gardening.
I'm working out, doing free online courses. Check out Coursera for more details on that. Online volunteering, cooking healthy recipes, learning a new skill that I've always wanted to try, organizing and decluttering because I love a clean space, researching careers I might be interested in the future, and club opportunities at MAC, meditating, reading or watching TV, and of course talking to friends.
I like to do all my work during their like assigned time. So if I had a lecture at 3:30, then like by 3 I would start like getting all my work together and just completing my work in like the assigned time. And I think also having like someone to hold you accountable, maybe like a friend, you guys could check that you've done both of your separate work, and then maybe you could call each other after and just like for a little break.
I like to organize things and put like timestamps of when things are due or what's going to take longer. Something might be due quicker, but it's easier to do, and something might be due later, but it's harder and takes more time. So I like to give priority to all the tasks I have to do, and you can use your calendar or apps to do that, and it really helps you stay on track.
I try to create a new schedule every night of what I want to accomplish the next day. Also, keeping up a weekly schedule helps so that you have like all the major due dates that week, which you'll obviously have to revamp every so often to update it. Also, having a visible calendar or a note of all the major due dates is helpful so that it like triggers your memory. Watching lectures at designated times, even if they're pre-recorded. And of course, being active in discussion forums, such as looking at the questions other students are asking and asking your own, forces you to stay on top of the content.
For me, one of the things is keeping a schedule. Starting the day with exercise, following through on things that I need to do by keeping them on a to-do list and staying organized.
The easiest way for me to get motivated to do my work at home is to start my work as soon as possible. Right after breakfast, as soon as I can, the sooner the better, because I can do it right then when I have all the energy, and then later I just get to relax.
I keep myself motivated by keeping lists because I like to cross off things when I'm done because it gives me that little push, that sense of productiveness, and then it boosts my spirits to accomplish my next goal.
One, using different objects to keep your hands engaged, especially if you're one to get easily distracted or bored during lectures. 2, doing eye exercises so that you're avoiding any headaches and eye strains. 3, creating a learning environment that is conducive to your needs. 4, taking breaks in between, practicing a 55 rule, so every 55 minutes taking a 5-minute break can be very helpful. 6, creating natural transitions such as getting up, stretching, drinking a glass of water in between lectures. And finally, trying some de-stressing apps and exercises can be helpful as well.
Try to make your study space as much of a study space as you possibly can. Like for me, I'll try and reinforce myself and change things about my room. Okay, this is not a bedroom, this is your study room, it'll be a bedroom later. Little changes like that to really make you feel like you're not at home, you're somewhere else.
Also, I would recommend changing out of whatever you slept in. So if it's like PJs, then when you get up, you just kind of change to something that makes you feel good so that you're more motivated to study. And also to take breaks when you need to. You know yourself best, so if you feel like you need to take a break, then you probably should.
My biggest tip around this to students is to be creative. So there's no reason why we can't still study together in many different facets. So although we may need to adhere to social distancing guidelines and still remain safe, we want to think about how we can actually, if we know that we study best in the library, for example, or study best in groups, we want to think of creative ways of how we can study. That might be doing things on Google Hangout or having Zoom meetings where you're working alongside each other and maybe not even talking, but just having that kind of library environment or mimicking what you might have in a library environment. If you know that you don't study well in your bedroom and you get really distracted, don't set up your study space there. You're going to want to think about what works best for you and what environments you've had success in, and kind of build upon that. That's going to be something that's important come September to really develop sort of good routines and habits. It may be a period of trial and error before you find out exactly what works for you, but as sort of the semester moves on, you should gain some momentum and have ideas of what works best and what is an environment that provides a lot of distraction that might not work as well for you.
Take advantage of every opportunity you have to make connections with profs, TAs, and other students, such as through discussion forums and help sessions. Zoom study groups are great. Keep a realistic schedule for yourself, designate study times and times of the day where you're not studying. Also, switch up your study methods. Don't keep watching lectures back to back, because then you'll get bored. But if you switch it up, such as by talking to a friend about a concept, or writing notes, then watching videos, and then like making mind maps and stuff like that, that can be a great way to keep it interesting.
Try and close down all unneeded applications. If you can avoid screen reading and you can do it on paper, that's really helpful, although I understand that's difficult. Reducing the applications at least helps keep you focused. Reward yourself after you studied for a little while. Do something fun.
Ergonomics is very important. Design a study space that works best for you. Have snacks and a cold glass of water at your hand's reach, and have a favorite stuffed animal at your desk to serve as moral support.
Some different campus resources that'll really help during this trying time is SAS, Student Accessibility Services.
Academic advising. So for science, if you just type in academic advising science, it's online and it's drop-in. So you just create an account and then you enter a lobby, and then you can speak with an advisor via chat or video call. You can also call Good to Talk. I believe the number is 1-866-925-5454 if you want to talk with someone about your mental health. And then the third thing would be to look at a bunch of MSU services, such as MSU Spark, which is completely for first years. They have a bunch of resources that you can use about McMaster, Hamilton, first year university life.
Also, Student Success Center is a wonderful resource for learning workshops, skill building, and job searching, as well as career advising and counseling services. I recently had a Zoom call with a career advisor, and she was really great at getting me the help I needed.
Campus resources with which I am most familiar are the Student Wellness Center. I'm a psychologist at the Student Wellness Center. My name is Nathan Cooper. You can access our resources online. You can also call 27700, and the reception staff will guide you through whether it's more appropriate for you to see a doctor, nurse, or counseling staff person, and we'll help you as best we can.
The Student Wellness Center has gone completely virtual, so students have the opportunity to access all of the services that we offer online, which is great. The best way to access services is to go to wellness.mcmaster.ca, and we have a really easy to navigate website for students to take a look at. There are all kinds of available resources, websites, and my favorite thing, which is our group programs that are offered. Counselors offer various programming throughout the year, and we have all kinds of exciting and fun groups that we're running come September. I really encourage students to take a look at all of the different group offerings and to really take advantage of this. We have everything from anxiety groups to mood groups. We have a group where you can walk in nature on your own and then do a debrief during a Zoom meeting afterwards, which is awesome. We have a cooking group, all kinds of different groups that are available to students. I highly recommend taking advantage of these groups. Like I said, you can head over to wellness.mcmaster.ca to look at all of the group offerings. You can click on a group that you're interested in, read the description, and underneath it will tell you how to register. So often you will need to just email the counselor running the group, and they will send you all of the details and information that you need to know.
Good luck, everybody, and all the best.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for watching.